We're back. I'm just gonna just go ham at this and see where we end up. So try and make something that's gonna work, possibly not work. I'm just troll through it. We might see Blender crash a few times. We might not. Uh, give myself 20 minutes to try and sort this out. Maybe. It might take a lot longer. So what we're going to start with is taking this cube. Um, yeah. We'll take the face on this end. We'll go on the X. Let's see where's front. Yeah, we'll go on the X. So this is going to be front side. This is going to be rear side. So we inset it. Grab it on the X. Bring it forwards like so. Scale it down just a little bit. We've got a weird shape going on, and then we're going to insert this one, we're going to extrude it out, and we've got another little weird shape going on, but I don't like it, so I'm going to scale it down just a little bit more and extrude it. In fact, no, we're not going to do that, we're going to go back. Going to front view, we're going to grab it on the X. We'll say roughly somewhere about there. Now, what I'm actually going to do is add subdivision. I click solidify. Subdivision surface on a Catmull Clark because I want this slightly rounded shape here, and I'm actually going to give it 5 so that it's nice and smooth. And then go into front view. Kind of the shape I want. I'm going to go scale it on the not X. Just bring it up a little bit like so. So kind of that shape. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is inset this face. So it brings that kind of shape, and then grab it on the X. Pull it out just a little bit. And then extrude it out like so. Then right click, mark sharp. I need to be in edge mode. Mark sharp. New edge crease. I'm just going to edge crease it so that it's completely flat, but it's rounded. Can we edge crease it some more? I want it to be kind of square. I don't want in fact no, we'll have it round like so. Go to the front mode, extrude it out just a little bit, and then press Control and plus, and then Control, what was it? Edge crease, Shift E, so I'll remember that for next time. And we'll just edge crease it some more, and then that should now be a square shape. Then we will select this face, press Control plus, so that we're on this. We will scale this down on the Y, so it comes down like so. And we'll take this edge, and we'll take this edge, and we will inset them just slightly. Press B to boundary it. Nope, that don't work. I to individual. Nope, that don't work. So we'll bring it to roughly about there, and then we'll scale it down on the Z, and then we'll extrude. But you see it's dropping it, so instead Control Z, Alt E along normals, and we'll just bring it out roughly to there. Yep. And then we'll take this face, inset it just a bit, and then extrude it up, and then scale it in like so. Go to front face view. I'm kind of happy with that, yeah. And then that, for the sake of what we're doing, that'll look okay, I suppose. So tab into this, we select this face, we select this face, we'll inset them just slightly, and then we'll extrude them up, and then we'll grab this face and we will extrude them out like so, and then scale them. See how it's scaling on the individuals. So actually, to be fair, what I could actually do is go down the X and then delete all this side, but I'm not going to bother because I'd have to put a loop cut in and do some other crazy stuff. But in fact, while I'm at it, I will put a loop cut down the middle, just to flatten it off a little bit, and then this way I can take this edge along here, just leaving that end one, this one, this one, this one, grab it on the Z, bring it up a little bit. Can we mark this one as an edge crease? No, in fact we won't do that. We won't even put that edge crease in there because it kind of ruins it. Yeah, that's fine. So we go to the bottom here. If I control R, a double loop cut. Yeah, that'll do better. A double loop cut on this one. Go to face view, this one, inset them. Make sure they don't overlap, and then scale them on the X. So we're bringing them down. E, down, right click. Go to edge mode, right click, edge crease, crease them out. Like so, grab it on the Z, like so. Then extrude it down just a little bit more. Click this one on face mode, this one on face mode, this one on face mode, this one on face mode. Alt E, extrude along normals, so we're bringing them out. Go to side view, and then I will grab them on the Z, like so, and then click this face, control bevel, clamp to clamp them. It's not what I wanted to do, is it? I suppose it is only going to be crude, so that would do pretty nicely, I reckon. I mean, you can kind of guess what I'm getting at already, can't you? Yeah, that's right. It's a flying jellyfish. So control E, edge crease. Does that look okay? Extrude it, scale it right down, and then grab it on the X just to bring it in. Right click, shade smooth. Normals, auto smooth. And that's fine for me, I think. Control E, edge crease. We'll take off a little bit of this edge. Bring away the edge. Yeah, for the sake of this, it's gonna do, I reckon. Yeah, okay. So we'll go into this one. We'll inset this one down, and then we'll scale it on the X. Bring it right down to the middle, and we will extrude it up. And then control Shift E, was it? Shift E, yep. So that it pulls it like so. Then we'll shift duplicate that, and then we'll just extrude it up. And then this one, in fact press L to link it, scale it down on the X until we're looking kind of round, so we've got top view, press slash. The slash is going to isolate this, but it's the same mesh, so that's not what I wanted to do, but hey, scale on the X till we're kind of round. And then click this one, this one, this one, this one, inset them, take off boundary mode, press I for individual, and then Alt E along normals. And then scale them, not on the Z, so they're just going to go out like so. Control Shift E till we're looking kind of like so. Alt E along normals, bring them out, scale them right down. Not on the Z. Individual origins scale. There we go. That's what I wanted. And then Shift E and bring away the edge. So just press 0. Oh no. 1. -1. There we go. So now that is none. Tab into this, and then I want to rotate on the Y. Press Ctrl plus rotate Y, X. What about local? Rotate Z, 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 Z. No, I see Y. Individual origins, that's what I already had. Normal maybe, rotate Z. There we go. They're kind of like blades, I suppose, in a way. I mean, it is only a placeholder shape, just for the sake of this. So tab into this, right click, separate by loose parts, tab into it, click this one, control parent the object so that when I move the body, that stays with it. Then I want to shift add a mesh, a plane, scale it by 25, 50, control A scale. Just make sure that this one's got all its scales applied as ones, scales all applied as ones. Grab this on the Z till we're kind of roughly about there. In fact, no, we'll grab this on the Z, we'll take it down, and then we'll grab this on the X and take it across. So we're kind of off screen, on screen, but not. And I want to be roughly around about here, Control Alt 0. View mode, I need to turn up this to 5,000, 50,000. Camera mode, there you go in camera. Give me the camera. Camera, 5,000, 15,000. Just so that we're making sure that we can see the helicopter coming in and we've got the land. Then what we need to do is, best way of doing this, I think it's actually going to be, go to object, quick smoke for the plane, and then scale it on the Z, and then grab Z, just so that the plane is directly on it, and that's kind of that size. And then this we actually need to go turn off. The visibility is in viewports and renders. Viewport wants to be textured, shadowed, and everything just as normal. And then I need to take off the fluid, so I'll just delete it from there. Go back into my domain, select this, just click this, now it's disappeared. Now, I am wondering the best way about doing this. I'll shift add a mesh, circle, grab it, bring it, we'll turn this back to medium point, we'll put this to global, again we'll turn on the face snap, and we'll grab and we'll bring it down somewhere around about here, and we'll scale it up to something like that, Control A scale to make sure. Okay. grab. Yeah, okay, we're going onto the domain for some reason. H. Grab. Drop this somewhere about there. Then click on this, press I, location. We will go to about 190 frames in. We'll grab this and we'll just bring it right down to there. That's us on the floor now. So I will press I, location, go back, have a look, press the smoke domain settings. I will just turn to modular for now, so it's not going to do anything. Press play, and that is okay, but first I want to come roughly on this, say like 140 frames, just grab that on the Z. Down a little bit, press I, location, so it does that. That looks okay. Press T for constant, A, T, constant. This one, I, we will make this so that it eases. Is it ease that I want? I could use the Bezier curve and change it. See what exponential looks like. So we'd be coming in. Ah, I see. A, T, linear, not constant. And then this one, T, quadratic. I don't know if that's going to look any good. Yeah, that'll do. So then what we do is, as we get here, what I need to do is click on this, add fluid, and make it an effector, and make it 50 sampling stub steps, give it a 0.0025, just to give it a small tiny bit of thickness. And just check on the face orientation, everything is blue, which means we're good. Face orientation off. Now this, I'll isolate it with that, press tab, fill it, so we've got face filled, and then E, just on the Z to give it a little bit of thickness, and then what we don't want is, we want it to be wireframed, and in renders we don't want to see it. Viewport we do want to see it because we need to be able to use it. So then now I need to also make sure it's still scaled as ones. Press slash, that's fine. Bring the smoke domain back, and at 32 resolutions, that square there is, you could fit that 4 or 5 times in there, so it should actually show some smoke. So if we go back to the beginning, while I'm on the smoke domain, click 32, click off, we don't actually get anything because I'm a dingus. Fluid, flow, geometry, it wants to be in flow, even though I suppose I could get away with geometry, but there's not much in the way of geometry there, so we're better off with the inflow. So to start with, to make sure that this is going to give us smoke, we go to 32, 32 and click, and we get nothing. So we check on the domain, we press Ctrl A, scale the domain. Now it's all ones here as well. We click 32, 32, and then we remember that we actually put it into modular. We're going to go to replay. Now you've got smoke. There's a fairly sizable amount of smoke. So if I go to here, click the inflow object, click use flow, press I, we'll bring it to about 20 frames in, press use flow, press I. So now we keyframed the fluid on and off. When we go here, we click this, it disappears. When we press play, it's just gonna skip through for now. We'll see how it behaves. So should be at any point now. It will just, yep, smoke just pops into existence, which is definitely not what we want. But what you'll find is that that smoke is now going to rise and start moving around a little bit eventually. But I think what it'll do is it'll just go boop, 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 rather than moving nicely. As you notice, it's actually pretty slow because we're 102 meters. I mean, what we could do is scale the whole lot down, but I'm happy to be doing it this way, basically just because, yeah. So as you see now, we've got the smoke slowly moving up over a period of time, which is kind of what I want, but also not what I want. So now I select this one, and we're at frame 20 when it pops up. So if I just grab that and bring it all the way over here for now, bring this along, and I want it to start roughly about there at 150. So we'll go back, click on this. Sampling sub-steps will go with 10. We've got it off. Density of 1, initial temperature we don't need. Initial velocity we don't need. It's smoke inflow, and then once that lands, we'll say maybe 220 frames. We'll turn the flow back off and then just leave it as that. The initial temperature is 1, but with the domain, what I actually want to do is buoyancy of density of 1 means it's going to float, 0.5 means it's going to hang around, so I'll go 0.25, possibly where I want to be. I'll give it some noise, and 1.1 vorticity just to give it a little bit of wibble. Don't need smoke, fire. The strength of 1s and wavelet noise, yeah, because there's nothing else. What press factor I don't care about. Right, so that's that. Now, I've got a funny feeling that this here will not do anything. So if I press I, rotation, then I come along to roughly the moment it lands, and I, rotate on the Z by 5,000, but we need to set its origin to center of mass. Rotate Z, don't want to do 5,000 degrees. What I'll do is 360 degrees times 400. 360 times 400, so it's doing 400 rotations. Press the I, rotation, go back, press play, see what it looks like. So that's rotating nicely. Then what we can do is go into the domain. This is a good thing to do actually. Viewport display, and I want to put vector display on. Scroll down, we've got needles, fluid velocity, which is the velocities within the domain. I don't know if that only works for liquids, but streamlines, map grids, no. We'll just go with needle and see what happens. So if I press play, there we go. So as you can see, that there is causing a lot of disturbance because of the speed and the rotation and all the other funky jazz. So what we're now going to do is we will say we're happy with that. When it gets to here, when it's landed, what I want to do is over the space of the remaining frames, I just want to I rotation, rotate on the Z by another, let's say plus 360 times 50, and we'll put that in brackets just to make sure it's going to do that calculation first and add them together. That'll do. and then hover over this and press I, so it saves that one keyframe, and then when we come in, it's going to go, and then this one, we want to press T, and put it as Bezier, then go down to the graph editor and just see how we look on the object transform Z rotation, which as you can see goes mad. Control Z just to make sure I didn't mess something up then. Basically it's gone way off the screen, I don't care, we're not going to fix that. If it doesn't look right, it doesn't look right. As I say, this is just a proof of concept. So, go back. Now what we need to do is click on the domain. And what we will do is we will change it to modular, not modular. We'll turn the velocities off. Vector, I just wanted to see that that was actually destroying something. Replay is what we're in. All is resumable so that I can pause it and start again. Click bake all and just sit and wait for it to bake. Check I'm recording. We've been 25 minutes. I want to say it's going to be another 15-20 minutes on this, so I'm just going to pause right now, and I'll be back once it's baked. Right, so I just jumped back right quick. It got to 50 frames, it jumped up there quite quick, and now because it's actually emitting smoke, it's slowed down quite a lot. The resolution is on 32, on 100 and, what was it? 102 by 102 meters by 40 meter domain. 32 is very, very low. This is just a pre-pass, so what I'm going to do is run it, see what it looks like, see where the smoke goes, see if the blades actually affect the smoke. Remember that I haven't done anything with the body. I should have made the body an effector as well, because now the smoke will just pass through the body. But generally, it's just a pre-pass. I'm going to want to see what it looks like. Once that's done, I'll probably settle at frame 50 to start with. Go back into modular, replay. Bump up to 128, see if that looks any good for the ring of smoke that comes off this, because the 32 was far too much. 128 might be a bit better. 256 is probably going to be adequate. If needs be, I'll have to do it on 512, but baking that will take forever. As you see, we're on 74 now. Once we hit, say, like the 150 mark where the smoke stops, it should start screaming along again. As the smoke starts disappearing. But generally, all I'm doing here is just seeing if it works. If it works just on this low resolution, then I'm guaranteed it's going to work the other way. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing, is simulating her rotor wash with the smoke, so that as it comes down, the rotor wash actually pushes the smoke around, because that is affecting the whole domain. The way you can tell that is, as I say, when I put that view mode on, you saw all those lines come flying out. 32 basically it means if this box starts moving, then the box next to it's going to start moving, the box next to that's going to start moving, and so on and so forth along the line. There's not many boxes within this area, so the speed that they're spinning at, there's a lot of disturbance, so I expect this to go absolutely manic, but it flies straight out the domain, which is fine, because we don't need to worry about that. But yeah, that's basically what's going to happen, and hopefully it works. And when you go to 256, I'll probably bake it overnight and see how she comes out tomorrow. I mean, there's some other things that I've done with the smoke domains, liquid domains, where you don't even need the smoke inside there to actually visualize this. I'll drop it. Nah, I'm not even any good at video editing, so I'm not going to drop a video in at this point. Just go through my other videos. I'll put the card in. That's probably the easiest way. Got a couple of renders that show what you can do without actually using smoke, and all you're doing is using emissive surfaces and the effect of movement within the domain. I did actually do this on the world. Not a good idea. Blender really hates trying to calculate volumetrics for the whole world, and the scene that you have to do, the items that you have to use, are insane, and the setup on the actual shader is slightly different to how I did it the other way. And again, that bit gets insane because it hangs so badly while you're trying to work on it. It's just unbelievable. There's no point doing it unless you're 100% certain your scene's set up correctly. It's exactly how you want it. And you basically bake it using command line rendering so that you're not even seeing what's going on. You get to the end of it, you've got your bake file. And even then, to be brutally honest, it's not a bake file because you're not actually baking anything to a domain. When I say bake file, I actually mean just straight up render it um, on command line so that then nothing breaks. It will just chug through as slowly as it needs to go because there's no graphical user interface to take over, there's no pre-rendering within the viewport. Like now, that'd still move, that'd move, it'd move, and it has to think about telling you that it's moved, when realistically all you want to do is turn it into a PNG. So you do it that way, don't do it MP4, if it crashes it kills it, just do it PNG and you'll be okay. Anyway, this is going to be another 10-15 minutes, I'm probably just going to go grab a smoke, and I shall be back when it is done. Right, I'm back. That took about 15 minutes or so. I never even went smart to just sat staring at it because it looked like it was going to be quicker, but it didn't. And so when we hit play now, what happens is the chopper, get to the chopper, it comes floating in, and that's basically down to the resolution. If I pause it at that point there, let's just have a look up at the helicopter itself. So I'll press the pause. This is the helipad, so I'll press here. And how does it wind down? It does actually do the whole helicopter going backwards stuff. And then stops. That's fine. I like that. So we'll come to roughly about here. And as you can see, it's kind of a patchy mess. That is because the moment the smoke starts at 150, it's instantly, because this has already been affecting the domain. The domain, we select the domain and we'll just put the guidelines on the vector display. Look at that. Basically everything has been yeeted straight out of the domain. Everything's moving far too fast. Well, I say moving far too fast. The resolution is too much, so it's compressed. Compression means explosions. Explosions mean that. So that's where the smoke wants to be. It's kind of a good way of seeing how things are looking. See how now it's stopped. Ah, my eyeballs. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Right, so we'll go out of this and instead of change the magnitude, there we go. That's more like what I wanted. So as you can see, we go all the way back. Velocity is nothing. The helicopter enters. Now we can see that this is 0 to 1-ish. And then these here, where the helicopter is actually affecting the whole scene. And as you see, it comes in and makes an absolute clusterfuck out of it and just turns it pink. And then all we've got now is this throwing smoke everywhere, throwing it out of the domain, and inside these little pockets of air we get to keep some of it. So by the time the smoke turns up, it's not got very many places to exist. It can exist in these little pockets of freedom. So if I'm in solid view, viewport shading, if I go to material view, what you'll find is not much changes, because I turn vector display off now. We've got just smoke particles just kicking about, but these aren't any good because when we go to shader view, it's actually just a bit of a mess really when you think about it. So then if I come into the shader itself, I could tell you why. Eevee, let's go cycles. There we go. Notice how it's very black. We'll turn off scene world and scene lights, and it's well, as you can see, it's come in. So we'll see if we can timeline. Just bring this right down. We'll just 0 is going to break it, so We'll just step through slowly as it's going along. And what happens here is the helicopter comes in, helicopter's coming down to land. And realistically, we could do this completely different way and use particles. I like smoke. It's probably actually the buoyancy that I've added to it as well and the changes to that. But yeah, you see it explodes, but then it's actually pushing it down this way, and then it's basically pushing it all over the place. And it's very thick. So if I go to the shade editor, oops, I've got density of 5, so if we bring the density down to 1, or even if we just give it a 0.5, just so it's slightly dense, as you can see, it's a bit of a mess, but we don't want the colour to be that, I want the colour to be a slight dirty brown colour, like that, and it's patchy, but it kind of fits what we're looking for. So basically what I'm saying is that's kind of alright, but maybe there's too much smoke being emitted at any given time, and probably the buoyancy and density and everything is a bit shitty. And then obviously the smoke stops and everything settles. So what we'll do now, kind of happy with that. Might just wanna, what we do is we come back, we free all, and it's probably actually this vorticity of 0 because I don't want it to be stupid. We'll give it a buoyancy of 0.5, I'm hoping, because then what it'll do is it'll kick it up and then settle it down, and then this inflow, sampling subsets of 10 because we're kicking it through, flow source of mesh, surface emission of 1.5 means there's 1.5 emission surfaces away from the circle. I don't want to give it any velocities, but realistically what I do want to do is change the density a little bit. I mean there is no heat to this because it's dust, so no heat means it won't float and dissolve. 5 seconds, 15, we'll give it a dissolve 10. Nah, in fact we won't dissolve it because I would like to see it fall down. Empty space, time step, CFL, time scale, resolution divisions is 32. I'm thinking a fire area where I can change the density of that. So, what about on this one then? Inflow, use flow, emission, initial velocity, texture, density. We'll bring the density down to 0.5 so it's slightly less dense, and then I can always bump it back up with the shader, but at least it's not going to take up as much room. Then what we do is we click on the domain, and this time what we do is we go to frame 50, was it? Frame 150. Yep, so we sit on frame 150, which is when the fluid starts. I don't think this is actually going to work. Not very well anyway. Bring this to replay. Click this, type 64. Yeah, okay. I have to go back to the beginning, then come up to frame 150, and it's not going to help. 64. There we go. Frame 150, will it emit some smoke from me? No. So go back to the beginning. 64, but what we want to do actually is bring this down to frame 1 for now. Click the domain, 64. Is that kind of the smoke that we want? No. 128. Will that be any better? Now you'll notice it's going to hang for a little bit. It's a little bit better. We might have to go 256, which is fine. I mean, I could also use vertices on the main plane, but I wanted to do it this way with a bit of thickness to this. So yeah, and then what we'll do is we'll actually make, while we're at it, we'll do the fluid domain. No. Effector. this, I actually want sampling substeps of 0 because I don't want any extra substeps, and I might as well actually do that on this as well because I don't want any extra substeps on that. I just realised. And we'll see if we can get away with 0 on this now. Basically I don't want any substeps on this because every time it goes around it's chopping, chop, 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 a million times. Although it probably actually does help because it's spinning that fast. That the step would be here, then it'd be here, then it'd be here, then it'd be here. 50 substeps it's here, here, as it's going around. If we had substeps of 0, what can sometimes happen is it goes here, 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 here. What you visually see each frame stepping forward. So as you can see, if I go onto the actual things, I press 1 frame forward, it's gonna take the piss. But you see it's just gone 1 that way. Is that even the right way? Yeah, because it's pushing down. Right, that's fine. What I'm actually going to do though, just for the sake of this, is go back to here, turn this to all again, and press 1 frame. As you can see, every frame is about 1/8 of a turn, and then it gets quicker and quicker, and that's actually been just a full turn then, and then a full turn, near enough. And sometimes it skips, it might skip backwards, and the simulation gets pissed off. So what I'm happy with now is 128, but I'm actually going to bump it up to 256. Don't ever do that while you're in modular replay, because it will just break. So the noise with up res factor 2, the vorticity. Excuse me. So what I do now is click bake all, and either it will bake or it will crash. When I say that, I mean it'll take a good few hours to bake this out now, because 32, say it takes 10 minutes, 64, it doesn't take 20 minutes. Well, no, actually it would take 20 minutes, would it? Possibly 20 minutes, actually more likely an hour, because it's not gone up by twice. It's like an exponential curve, so even though it's twice as much resolution, it's maybe 4 times as many particles as some are daft. And then 256 and 512, maximum 512. 512 will break a computer unless you've got something stupid. And 1024, you'll be looking at just crashing Blender off, restarting your computer and starting life again, because, well, I've left one doing on modular. Sorry, on replay. Trying to do frame 1 just to see what it looked like. Like now, Blender's not responding. And it hung like that for 3 days. So I just crashed it off, restarted everything. But basically, the long and short of this is probably going to be done tomorrow. So I'm just going to pause the recording here. When it's done, I'll come back. All being well, Blender didn't crash. My graphics card driver didn't crash. My recording software hasn't crashed. My computer hasn't shit a brick. And we're all happy. I'll catch you tomorrow. Maybe later on. I'm not sure yet. Right, we're back. Let's have a look. Where do I want to be? I want to change this. Where are we? Oh shit, I pressed it. I done my pressing for. Fluid bake complete. It took 14,982 seconds. Maths. 14,982 divided by 60. 249 minutes, divide that by 60. It only took 4 hours, which isn't actually too bad. At 4 hours, I'd probably actually do this at 512 next, if it don't look any good. So, I haven't looked at this myself yet. I have no idea if this looks any good. So I'm just gonna go up to, because it's baked, I can now jump through the time line. So I'm just gonna drop to 10. And we don't have any smoke yet, which is fine. The blades are inside the domain, which is perfectly fine. And I'm just going to turn on Victor Display and see how we look. And hopefully it's not absolutely manic. No, that's fine. Just keep skipping through the frames then. Ah, hang about. Bollocks. I've baked it 4 hours. And I didn't change this back to being where I wanted it, so we do have smoke already. That's fine. That's fine. Well, I say it's fine. It's not fine. See magnitude. No, nothing like so. That's okay. All I want to know is that this rotor is changing the velocity of the fluid domain, which it doesn't actually look like it is for some reason. So if I just skip through to like here, we get any change whatsoever. No change. Mac grid. Nothing. Streamlines. Nothing. Material view. Alright, I see, this is why. On the other one, the smoke and everything was everywhere, so we do have velocities changing here. Now what I was hoping to see was somewhere on this, a change. So it finishes at around 70. So, there we go, that's promising, is that? Look at that, the helicopter's coming in. It is now pushing a bow wave. But it's backwards. So this is yeah, no, it's not actually. This is pushing down on the floor. This is then whipping it up. So if I go to now 60, there you go. Look at that. It's pushing it away. Go to 70. It's now disturbing it a lot more. 90. Then it explodes. But that could just be MAC lines on the domain because the smoke is there, so it just does it. So turn the vector display back off. Yep, so it's pushing it, pushing the wind. You can see it's pushing it away. So this might work. It might look okay. It might look shit. I don't care. It's not. It don't have to be beautiful, I suppose. We'll go to rendered mode. Oh yeah. Looks like the ground's set on fire, and then because the smoke's no longer being emitted, this is actually just yeeting it off into the distance. I like that. But it'd have been better if the helicopter got to about here and then it started, because then this would have been bowed off this way, bowed off that way. But if we end up at like 150 frames, which is where I wanted it to end anyway. Come on. It takes its time because we're dipping through and it's having to recalculate all the particles movements, which is understandable. It's going to take a little while to do. Just check I'm recording and my voice is still going through. Yeah. And yeah, it's blowing all the particles away from there. Now there is something else I can do. I think, which I will do in a minute. Yeah, before I render it. And this isn't great for you guys, obviously, because all you see right now is pixels. Might as well be Japanese porn. Come on, Blender. Yeah, so the helicopter landed. Right, okay. So it blew away the smoke. Let's just go to frame 80, where we have a lot of detail going on, maybe. Because you can see this is washing, because I mean that should be pushing the smoke down the way, but it would, I suppose, draw it up over the blades. The blades would go down, and the wash of the blades spinning will spit it out the back slightly. But I was expecting to see a bit more push down, you know, a bit more air push down. But as you can see, it is actually drawing it and doing something with it with just so little, just such a little blade as that, which is cool actually. But how does it render? That's the question. Render image. Do you get to see the render? No. Let's add a render screen then. Window capture. Okay. There we go. It's already on it. I got no lights, have I? No. So we'll go to the world color, sky texture. It puts us in this one of these, the sun disk. We want the elevation to be about 30 degrees. The sun's on my left hand side at the minute, so I will rotate it by 180. So it should be coming from the right somewhere now. And if I can't tell, there we go. Scene world, scene lights. And we'll bring this down to 0.1. I don't know why 1 is absolutely strong as anything. And just go back to 0 and see where we're at. Yeah, it's on the right-ish now. Where is it? Yeah, it's over there. I'm happy with that. The camera is over here where you wouldn't see anything, so we want the camera somewhere around about here. And what I'll do is I'll give the helicopter body just a stirred material to help blend her out a bit, I guess. It's already got a blend material. And we'll give it grey, specular as B. Some metallic, no roughness, a bit of anti-stropic. And instead of grey, I'll go for a bluish colour. Blades I don't care about. The ground needs a material and it needs to be green or brown-ish. So I'll bring that to roughly about the same colour as what smoke is. And it doesn't want to be specular, it wants to be quite rough. No sheen because ground isn't shiny. Let's see how that looks. And then this, I believe I hid in the renders. Visibility renders, yeah, I've already hidden that in the render. That's drawn up the smoke. Now obviously this wouldn't be a plume of smoke that's here already, but this is like a dust devil coming in maybe, you never know. If it did this to you, don't care about it. What I am more worried about though is that, and that, and this, 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 and this. This is the shadow, and then this, if I go top down, there's not really any reason for that shadow to exist. If we take the helicopter, the shadow is cast here. So what's casting this shadow from here? No idea. What's casting these shadows? Something around here. What's casting these? God knows. So, I mean, that actually looks pretty cool from above here, I think. So we'll go on the domain, we'll just auto smooth it and see if that takes away any of these artifacts. Not that I think it'll help. Well, it kinda got rid of this one. And it made them, oh wait, hang on. De-auto smooth. Was this as pronounced as this? Yeah, it's just my head. So I don't know what these are. I think these are just artifacts that's coming from the render itself. Like maybe something roughly about here. I don't like them. I'd love to know what caused them and why. Maybe Blender people that watch this would be able to say, yeah, that's just some artifacting going on and there's no fix for that. Sorry, Blender's rubbish. Get on with your life. But yeah, it'll be alright, I suppose. I mean, the only other thing I could think, maybe, take away the sky texture, just remove that for a minute. We'll make the strength of 3, no, strength of 1. We'll bring the light up. Right up. Do we get those shadows now? No, because we've got full light coming from everywhere. So it must just be something in the domain itself, but I don't like doing it this way. So we will go with the colour. I mean, we could always use a HDRI, but I don't like how it reflects off the surfaces in the end. You can see everything. It's too much of a pain in the neck to actually go sort that out. Yeah, so we're getting artifact in here. These shadows, these are the smoke's shadow, but that there is some random shadow. 0.1 hit F12 and then check OBS. You can actually see that, but then obviously because the render's changed, it's actually just jumped. So Blender render, match title otherwise, or window must match title. There we go. How does it render? I mean, I'm already happy with how the smoke looks on the edges at 256, but for 8 hours worth of bake, I'll go to 512, or even better, for if I go to work tomorrow and just, well, before I go to bed tonight, put it on 1024, absolutely annihilate my computer. Could even send it over to the server with the dual CPU, because bakes take CPU. I mean, the smoke's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the helicopter model. The helicopter model could come out as trash as it wants. Because ultimately, if I really wanted to go to Blendshare or somewhere and go get myself a model, and use that instead, all I'm interested in on how the smoke looks and how it's acted on the ground, and generally what it looks like as it comes across. Then what we'll do is 39 minutes. Bear with me, I'm just going to close that. Can you still see? Yep, you're back to me. Right, so we're going to set some things up in here. Render settings, we'll go with adaptive samplings. Denoising will leave off because I want the noise from the smoke. If you denoise it, it's going to smoothen it all out. The film, don't want transparent because it does ruin smoke. Well, it doesn't if you do it right. Go into compositing, give it some alpha back in so that it only clips where smoke is smoke. Performance wants to be, I think I do it at 128 normally and it's okay. Bottom to top, I'm using a 1070 and a Ryzen 5 1600. Not that the CPU really matters because we want to be rendering on GPU anyway. Makes it a bit quicker. When we do 128, it's for the GPU, bigger box sizes. Adaptive sampling basically means once Blender's happy that that box that has been rendered is perfectly okay, it'll just skip and carry on. I hope that that doesn't make too much of a problem. 128 will be okay. Now what's this? Ah, so it's whipping it, drawing it, and spitting it. It is actually spitting it out. Cool. F12. Let's see how she goes. Sorry, I've got a bit of a hoarse throat at the minute. Now, can you see the render again? Yep, we're back to seeing the render. For a second, then it wasn't going to show me. See how much quicker it's actually doing the blocks? That's because it's down at the bottom and there's no volume there, really. But see how it does with the volume itself. That just sat on my seat buckle. get the seatbelt on my computer seat. No, I don't live in my car. I've just got a car seat for a PC seat. Right, so that's taken it down from 39 minutes to an hour and 46 minutes. To be honest, I don't think it's an hour. I think that's a minute. No, we're going to lose this detail here because we haven't got the resolution, and nor do we have the what's the word? Samples. So it's going to kind of half ignore, half delete. But I'm glad this worked. And it looks as good as what it is at the resolution it's at. It encourages me to do a bit more, such as maybe have the whole plane emitting smoke, or at least have that circle parented to the underside of this, so as this is going along the plane it's taking this with it, and then as it's going along, if it's way up in the air it's not going to do anything, and as this gets close down to it, starts blowing it around because it'll have no buoyancy on this, so it's just literally the wind that affects it. Now this here, sorry I'm eating crisps, this here could be an effect of not enough sample substeps, or running at 30 frames a second. Basically the rotor's skipped, it's gone round and then come back on itself, so this has now been rather than blown over. But I'm going to put it down in my mind as it's drawn this away from this, because this rotor blade has to steal air from the top here to push down, and I'm just hoping I'm rotating it in the right direction, which I think I was. There's only one way to test that though. But I mean, maybe a helicopter pilot will tell us that looks quite realistic when it comes to flying into a sandstorm. It's just going to yeet all the smoke at it. But yeah, that actually doesn't look too bad. Does not look too bad at all. Enough so that even this, if I was to collapse a building down, have the smoke just dense at the bottom, inside the bottom of the building, and then have the building collapse onto it, the building then will, all the bricks and pieces, will push that smoke away. And I'm happy that it would look quite nice at 256 at the 100 meters. I wasn't expecting it at all. I was expecting this look to look like trash. There we go, done. I mean, when you just zoom in, obviously we've got noise. We could have denoised it, I suppose, and it would have got rid of it, but it would have also got rid of these parts, these bits. All of this down here, it'd have all been denoised out of the way, and it would have looked almost like this. Uniform madness. Excuse me. But yeah, this is blowing down on here, and then it's blowing up. The only problem with using a domain, even though you tell it to skip on the outer edges, can you see back to the non-render view? No, okay. So on the outer edges, even though you've told it not to clip with this here border collisions, no border collisions. Excuse me. The way the force works on this is it will go down and it will pass through the edges of the domain, but every now and again this will cause a piece of wind to maybe come to the corner here, and it'll just sit spinning around, or in this corner, or in any of the edges, right in the outer edge, or on the wall itself. It'll just spin and go crazy. I don't know why. The only way you can see that is by using velocities, which is the vector display, but using it in shader. But that's it. I'm very happy with that. So what I'll do now is we'll go back to around about frame 20. I think it's about when, yeah, it's inside the domain, it's had some rotation, and what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go through everything with it, but I will just append, and I will append from, 1 second. I can't remember which one it was in now. It has to be in this. Was it tank? What was tank? Did I make? Oh yeah. Did I make a tank? No, I don't think I made a tank. Air tracks. P1. What's P1? Let's have a look at P1. Material. Alright, we've got liquid domain material. We just take these two, bring them in, append them. There we go. So now it's appended it. And as you can see, the rotor blades are causing this, because this has come in. We go to the shader editor, where it's now using material. On the domain itself, it's using smoke domain material. What? Oh, right, yeah, sorry. That there is a gunshot. There was a barrel here and it got shot through it. Every time you append this material to it, it brings the object with it. So I don't need that. That confused me then. So we go here, and then we change from smoke domain material to liquid domain material 3. Which was a simple, oh no, there we go. It's a veritable mess. So we've got geometry velocity, min max 1 1 1 blah 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 blah. Inverting emission. So what I may have to do is drop this down to 10 to get that. We're getting something. Down to 5. No. Alright, yeah, I see why. 0 0.1, 0 0.075, 0 0.1 to 0, bollocks, 0 0.5, multiplied, Okay, it might be not that one then, it might have been smoked in liquid material 4, which has actually got some colour to it. The density, I'm driving by something. 0.10099, velocity, the length, linear, 50, no. Now what this should be doing is around the rotor blade, it should be putting, okay. Right, around the smoke we're getting something, but over here I was half expecting something with this, but we're not getting anything. Now I wonder if that's because it's either not actually affecting it. We'll jump forward a little bit. And that should have done is this has punched a hole. These rotor blades have caused this to whip up, so you would notice movement, but for some reason it's not actually working. Let's just turn off scene world, scene lights. We'll give ourselves a very dark. See, we have got a glow around it, just. But that might just be a reflection. Oh no, we're getting a little bit around the blade, maybe. Jump forward a little bit more. You're getting any wash whatsoever. No wash. Right, okay, so it's not doing as I was expecting at all. What's shader editor? Where's the domain? Smoke domain. Now normally this would work as it is. So I'm multiplying the emission strength by 125, and we'll just delete that driver. So we're multiplying it by 125, and we'll go from 0 to 10. We'll just put 0 in here. So they've got a threshold of 0, 0 0.1, 0 0.3. Position 0, press add 1, draw it down. Excuse me. Now I was actually expecting them to have done something, but they're not, for no reason. Would that be because they're not actually spinning? That'd be funny if they weren't. No, they are. They've got time on them. These, I mean, there's a direct line there, but that's obviously reflection from this mess. I do not understand that, because if I was to have put something in there and made it move really fast or bring it through it, hang about. What's going on here? Stop. Go back in there. Top one I can delete. Delete this driver. Emission strength goes to there. Color ramp goes to there, so it should be green and yellow when it's going at half of 10, or well, threshold of 0.95. We get a little bit of movement. What if we bump this to 50? 100. Maybe geometry doesn't work anymore, is it object? Or instancer? It doesn't really matter which one of them we use then. Go back to geometry then. Delete that one that I put in. Multiplying it by 1. That was just so that I could change where it is on the line. Greater than 0 0.0, 0 0.9, 0.3 to 0 0.95. It wants 0 0.095, you nugget. There we go. So we're getting whipped up. Now maybe there's not enough damage getting done here. 0 0.5, 0 0.05, 0 0.1, and 10, 0 0.1. That's annoying. Because as I was expecting to see something with the helicopter at least doing something. Because you don't need the smoke to do this. You could just literally spin this worthy gig around and it'll just do its thing happily. We don't need the black body tint for any of that. I'm not happy with that at all then. Drop that all the way down now. Right, 0.0001. Yeah, so that should have been affecting it. It's not. It's affecting the smoke, which I'm happy about anyway. So this is meters per second on the vector angles. This is not 0.1, is basically increments every time it goes 0.1 of a mile an hour. So if I go 1 meter a second, 0.1, and then every tenth of that it checks to make sure it's over what's coming through here, and multiplies it if it's bigger than this, and then obviously I'm multiplying it by 125 on the emission to get strong emission. Plugging that into the strength, then taking the same value here, bringing it down. I've got a multiplication node so that I can just, as I say, bring it up and change the colour of it if I really wanted to, because it wasn't acting as I wanted. Bring it across, put that into emission colour, straight into the volume, and we're done. It works well with fire as well, density, blah blah blah. I might do a tutorial on this actually one day, if there's interest on it. But and then this one here was for the density of the smoke. I tried the same with this one as well, density of the smoke, so it changed colours on the density. So once it gets spread out, it changes colour. It worked well. This, however, worked pretty well as well in other files where the blades would actually affect it. I don't know what's going on there, but that seems to actually be sucking it up rather than blowing it down. And I'm not sure why it's done that, but it'll be okay. So, that's that one. Going back to this one. Let's see if I messed up the setting. Because it's still pulling, but it's not being affected here at all. If you look from my previous videos, you'll see somewhere I've got things that are glowing like this, and that is literally just a domain with no smoke whatsoever. And that's going 0.1 and 0.5 meters per second. So if I go 100 again, you'll see that it changes the colour, and you can see actually the lines of 0.1 and 0.75, 0.095, the lines will get more predominant. 0.02, they'll get a little bit less predominant. 0.099 is the best you can get when you've got 0.1. This always has to be below this one. And then it's literally just 0.1% of this multiplied by 10. It's using the velocity. Now, what about if I put factor in? No, because it's vector. So that goes straight to the value. No, we're still not getting anything off blades. It's not a major issue. So I'm happy with how it is anyway. So what I'm going to do now, it's going to take a minute. I've got 250 frames to do. We'll go back. I'll bring it in like 5 frames actually. So remember, earlier on in the tutorial, this went absolutely crazy. Using the vector display. Now it could be because I've already got the smoke in there that it's not doing it. With the smoke, it's only going to now concentrate on where the smoke is, theoretically. Mac grid. We could do the guide, the force, and the fluid velocities. But it's not happy about doing that, so that's fine. So we'll just go back to using the smoke data for the domains material. Smoke domain material. And then I'll go back. We'll make sure I'm just looking at it right, scene light, scene world, so that's okay. Press 0. And then in the video we're going to capture this and this. Right, so go here, change to chopper slash balls that way. Change it to FFmpeg change this to MP4. I'll put this down to 64 samples just to be quick. Adaptive sampling, render optics. Then we'll go to wireframe mode, leave it at that, and then render animation. I was going to put transparency on, but can't bothered. There you go, look at that, that was quick. That's cycles, by the way. 64 samples. It's going to be a little noisy, a little scrappy, but I think when it denoises, optics knows that this is supposed to be noisy anyway. So it denoises like 80 tiles, 90 tiles, 100 tiles. I can see one that's denoised there. There we go. But it keeps the noise. Now I do want more than 64 samples on this, but just for speed, if I can get it done in 21 seconds by the time I've had my dinner, it'll be cool. So I'm going to leave this rendering. I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll be back. Another hour and 21 minutes. Bloody hell. Sorry, guys. Right, we're not even halfway through yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this one here. I'm going to stop it, and then I'll just put the video in at the end, and you can see it, how it looks. As I say, I am semi not happy with it because of how it's playing. But the only reason I'm going to stop here is so that I can go open up another one and explore what's gone wrong, and see if I can figure it out. So on that note, I will catch you in the next one. It's been another hour and a half. Pleasure to have helped you out. If this has helped you, if it hasn't helped you out, then I hope you took something from it at least. Yeah, so enjoy. Bye bye.